Hey, good morning, everyone. I agree. Happy Friday. Man, if this world was ever in need of a long weekend, let it be this one. I was thinking yesterday when I was putting my thoughts together for this session, what is now the right time to even be talking about resistance. It seems like it's nothing but resistance out there. It's certainly not all baby ducks and unicorns and pixie dust. So, thought now would be a better time than any to just talk a little bit about how are we going to manage resistance. It's quite the hot topic, to be honest with you. When we do our advanced classes as well as our premier level classes, we usually start with like a strength, weakness, and goal assessment to figure out what the teams really want to address or what their targeted objectives are. And usually the top two kind of come down to empathy-based statements, rationalizations, and or how do we handle it when things just go south on us in the middle of the interview. I don't think we were born with this gift of handling conflict well. I think a lot of times when we hit that fight or flight, which we're in as well, our tendency is, our blood boils, our adrenaline runs just like everybody else. And because we haven't really learned how to fight, we're more of in a flight thought process. And how do I maneuver through this situation but get to the end game, which was my target to begin with? I think the problem is that we're witty, but we're always witty, 20 seconds too late. We do a lot of homework in this. We put a lot of effort into it. But again, when adrenaline is running, how good are our listening skills? How good are our behavioral reading skills? How good are our engagement skills when things go south? A lot of times people ask me, they're like, Brett, I'm concerned when I'm firing back on denials. What if this person is innocent? And my instinct, my first thought is, if we're in these interview techniques are so robust at this point in time, why would we be in an accusatory conversation with an innocent person unless we had just absolute bulletproof evidence or had conducted a significantly thorough, non-accusatory conversation, strictly an interview conversation? I'm not really sure why people would feel like they're being accused and need to offer certainly verbal denials. And your retort to that is, well, what about these people who wake up in the morning angry? Touche. I happen to be one of those every once in a while. I look at my last few weeks of travel, and I'm proud of myself that I haven't Juwan Howard somebody in the ticket line on the way to the jet bridge. I mean, there are days where we wake up and we probably should not be around other humans. But again, I feel like if we're utilizing technique that strategically moves people through a non-accusatory process before ever getting to a point where somebody feels like they would need to deny, then we can probably avoid, the vast majority of these. And you know what? How about giving people a little rope? I mean, again, right now, and this world is not in a great place, to be quite honest with you. In fact, our particular soil, refuse to watch the news, won't read a paper. I get it. Inflation, gas, grocery prices, everything going on in Eastern Europe right now. It's challenging. Rent's going up. People are coming into these conversations already in conflict. How about we give them just a tad more rope, a little bit more grace, and kind of, cool our jets a little bit when somebody doesn't completely agree, with everything that we're saying in there. I mean, my wife needs a whole weekend to recuperate if I don't agree with what color the 47th pillow getting ready to be thrown on our bed should be. Give people an opportunity to catch their breath. They have a lot to lose in these conversations. And then even more, how are we prepping, for these things? Are we putting in enough time up front to think through what could be causing this resistance? A lot of times it's these stale empathy-based statements, that every one of us have used throughout our career. We get stuck in this, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. And it's like, hey, I've used this particular guilt transference mechanism often. I've had success with it. Let me just roll with it. And we're in these empathy statements and these people are looking at us like not even close. So we're not really moving them towards submission. We're kind of moving them back towards rejection or think through what type of rejection that you might get. This is something else that comes up in these premier classes as we work on anticipation based on the type of conversation that I'm getting ready to have and the human being that is in front of me. What might be the most logical type of rejection that I receive? I mean, if we're not ready for things like, boy, it sounds like you're accusing me, or I don't have to sit here and listen to this, or, in these hostile work environment communications, especially in the sexual harassment world where you're speaking to somebody who's, married or engaged or involved with somebody, and they say, I would never do something like that because I'm in a relationship or I am married. Come on, those are softballs. If we're getting thrown for a loop on things that we should have already anticipated, then shame on us for not preparing ourselves for something like that. So my idea on resistance is make it a part of your investigative prep. When you're thinking about the design of which interview technique should I roll with this week, who is the human being I'm getting ready to address? What's going on around me right now? What's the culture in the company and the city and the part of the world that I currently live in, and start guesstimating the pushback? Then I think it'll help us prepare and be a witty just a tad quicker. So everybody have a peaceful weekend. Let's all go recharge, catch our breath a little bit, stay away from the news, hug the people that are closest to you, call people and tell them you love them. We're all going to get through this together. Have a wonderful weekend. Come back next week. I'm going to be doing another one next Friday, and we're going to talk a little bit about spring cleaning since we're moving away from February on into March. So have a wonderful weekend. Look forward to seeing you guys on the road soon.